What's up YouTube, I'm Guy, and today we are taking a brief look at the new Omega Seamaster Diver 300 007 edition. This watch is currently on loan from my good friends at Exquisite Timepieces located right here in Naples, Florida. So a big thanks to them for making this review possible. Now I'd like to ask you guys to go visit their website, exquisitetimepieces.com, and give them a call if you're interested in this watch or anything else from their extensive new or pre-owned inventory. Now with that said, let's go ahead and check out this watch. The Omega Seamaster has been a cast member of the 007 film franchise for 25 years, dating back to the series reboot featuring Pierce Brosnan in the 1995 release GoldenEye. In the 9 films since, numerous versions of the Seamaster have made an appearance on the wrist of James Bond, and the version we have here today is the latest and perhaps the most unique. This model Seamaster is reference number 210.92.42.20.01.001, one of 2 variations of the 007 edition Seamaster currently available. The alternate model is the same watch, but comes on a Milanese mesh bracelet, as opposed to this striped brown, gray, and beige NATO strap. The model we have here today comes in at a suggested retail price of $8,100, and the version on the mesh bracelet has a slightly higher asking price of $9,200. The watch also comes with a special 007 Omega branded watch roll, which is a departure from the typical Omega display case. This Omega Seamaster, as featured in the upcoming Bond film No Time to Die, has a 42mm case with a 20mm lug width and has a slightly slimmer profile than the standard Diver 300M of just 13mm thick. The case is made of lightweight grade 2 titanium and is entirely matte finished, with none of the polished appointments as you would find on the standard model Seamaster. As is traditional, the 007 Seamaster has the standard Seamaster features you've come to expect, including a helium escape valve, screw-down crown, and an elapsed time dive bezel. The bezel is fully lumed, and of course the dial markers and the handset feature glow-in-the-dark luminescence as well, with the distinct green-colored contrast on the watch's minutes hand and on the zero marker lume pip on the bezel. The tropical brown aluminum bezel and the matte brown dial match with coordinating beige markers and graduations. And depending on the light you view the watch in, it can appear almost black or a dark mocha coloration. The dial features the standard Seamaster professional markings, along with the coaxial master chronometer designation and the 300M water resistance indication. New for this version, however, is the RAF Broad Arrow military insignia, located down at the 6 o'clock side of the dial, which is a small nod to the James Bond character's affiliation with the British Royal Navy. While a helium escape valve is very unlikely to be a feature that any person who purchases this watch will ever use, the unidirectional elapsed time bezel, on the other hand, is a great feature to have on a watch, even if you're not a diver. Simply rotate the bezel into alignment with the minutes hand, and you can easily track the passage of time over a 60-minute interval. And of course, with the addition of a screw-down crown, you should be protected from inadvertently deploying the crown while the watch is in use, and more importantly, if the watch is underwater. The case has the traditional twisted lug profile as found on the Omega Seamaster for decades, and while the case lacks the highly polished facets as you would find on the standard model Seamaster, it does have a nice finish nonetheless. Being entirely of a matte brushed finish and of a slimmer profile, it makes this watch fly under the radar a little more than the more luxurious appearance of its brother, the standard model Seamaster. The domed sapphire crystal features an anti-reflective treatment on the underside and adds to the watch's vintage vibe and presents very much like a classic Hesalite or acrylic crystal. The crystal is clean and clear, and it adds to the highly legible display of the watch face. Now, speaking of the watch face, you might have noticed the lack of date complication, a feature found on the standard Seamaster and, frankly, most Omega watches. The lack of date complication keeps the dial and the display very clean and balanced. And if you're an international spy like James Bond, it's likely that every day is Monday and you're always on duty. So the need for a date display is less important than having an accurate and a reliable timekeeper. As far as timekeeping goes, this watch comes equipped with the Omega Caliber 8806 self-winding, certified master coaxial chronometer movement, approved by Metas, and resistant to magnetic fields up to 15,000 Gauss. The free-sprung, balanced, automatic movement has a 55-hour power reserve and is accurate from 0 to +5 seconds per day. Metas movements are also spec'd to have an extended service interval, exceptional shock resistance, and durability. On the wrist, the watch, especially on this NATO strap, is a lightweight and comfortable companion. It's easy to almost forget that it's there thanks to the titanium case construction, but it's comforting to know that it's available when needed. So, what do I think about the Omega Seamaster 007 edition, and more importantly, what do you guys think about it? Now, I posted a sneak peek on the JustBlueFish community page asking to let me know what you guys thought about the watch. I wanted to see what the feedback from the community actually was. Carlos Hernandez says, "It's the Seamaster that finally makes me want one. No shiny stuff, no waves, just business, and I think the faux patina looks damn good." Now honestly, I sort of agree with this. I wasn't expecting to like this watch as much as I did. I'm not usually a fan of things like faux patina, but this feels a bit more like a specific color choice and a stylization, and not an attempt to make the watch look old or vintage. Mark comments that he loves the throwback vintage aesthetic. Not a huge fan of the faux patina, but the strap does complement it very well. Just a real shame it's way overvalued, much like all of the Bond limited editions. So I think you hit the nail on the head here, and it's probably my main complaint with this watch. It is very expensive. When you compare it to the standard Seamaster model, for example, it's a bit hard to justify the extra price. That said, if money were no object, I could see adding it to a collection. Yeah, maybe if money were no object. AJ Gross posted that he absolutely loves it, but I just wish that they would give it a more vintage size, 38 to 40 millimeters, to match the vintage looks. So this is my problem with the Seamaster, just in general, I guess. At least for my wrist, it's just a hair too large. 42 millimeters in diameter with a 52 millimeter lug-to-lug width, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it just doesn't fit my 6 3/4 inch wrist quite the way that I would like it to. Yeah, I can pull it off, I can wear it, and it's not terrible, but I think that a slightly reduced size, but not too small, would definitely get me to be a buyer of this, or even a standard Seamaster. But as it stands right now, it's just a little bit larger than I prefer. Well, that's some of what you guys thought. Now, as for what I think about the watch. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised. I think that it's a really nice watch and that it's one that I think has a lot of things going for it. It's not absolutely right for me personally, due to the price and also the size, but I think I am still a fan, and I definitely can appreciate what it is. Now, if I had cash burning a hole in my pocket, I would seriously consider it, and if it were available in a slightly reduced size, I would probably jump on it. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for tuning in as always, I greatly appreciate it. And of course, a big thanks to my friends over at Exquisite Timepieces for loaning me this watch for review. I definitely would like it if you guys go over to their website, check it out. They have a ton of watches from a bunch of great brands, both new and pre-owned. And of course, if you call them and talk watches with Evan or anyone else at the store, let them know that you heard about them from Guy and the Just Bluefish Watch Reviews channel. They will certainly take care of you. Now with that said, I guess it's time to sign off and say bye now.